Ukraine has signed a letter of intent to purchase up to 100 warplanes from France. This is happening as airstrikes are intensifying after Russia launched a massive attack across the country. Last week, Russian drones and missiles targeted Ukrainian residential and energy sites, leading to sustained blackouts. The attacks prompted Ukraine to strike a key Russian oil terminal. The ongoing damage to Ukraine's energy infrastructure has raised concerns, obviously, about the country's ability to make it through the winter months. For the very latest, I'm joined by CTV News military expert, retired Major General David Fraser. Good morning to you.
Lindsay, good morning.
So happening in the last hour or two, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky signed a letter of intent with France that will give it access to 100 new warplanes. What advantage will that provide?
Well, it's certainly a much-needed shot in the arm for Ukraine to get high-tech aircraft that can actually provide, both air defense coverage and deep attack into the Russian territory, occupied territory. So this is something that's really important, and it's also a 10-year agreement, which will also give a better sustainment capability that Ukraine doesn't have.
I don't know if you know this. I don't know this yet, but how are they going to pay for this?
Oh, well, I don't think that people are going to be worried about paying for them. I think, the fact that they signed it and President Macron has put the French technology behind, they'll find the money. There are countries there that will want to support Ukraine, and as long as they're doing the fighting and not them. So I don't think the money's the issue.
Russia is targeting Ukraine's energy infrastructure, which is something, as we know, that they've done for the last few winters. What is the long-term strategy here?
So, Lindsay, the strategy has, started off with attacks on the ground between soldier and soldier, but this has really become a long-range infrastructure fight and a battle of attrition between the two countries. Russia will continue, as they have done in previous years, to go after Ukrainian infrastructure, water, electricity, heat, just to try to degrade the Ukrainians' ability to sustain and provide pain and suffering onto the population. In return, Ukraine's going to do the same thing to Russia. But this is where the real fight is between these two countries, is on infrastructure attacks, and it's just trying to degrade the other country's ability to sustain the ground tactical attack against each other.
How long can Ukraine sustain itself in these conditions?
This is a great question, because this is probably the worst month that President Zelensky's had. He's suffering corruption charges. He's got a manpower shortage. Their ability to stop drones is starting to be degraded, and the Russians continue to attack on the ground and probably have over 165 square miles that they've gained. So the question is, how long can they last? Because Russia is banking on the fact that their hammer is bigger than Ukraine's.
Ukrainian forces have been losing ground in the eastern city of Pokrovsk. How significant is that city?
Pokrovsk is significant in two ways. One is it's a major logistical hub. If they lose it, Ukraine loses the ability to sustain a lot of their forces in the fronting areas. And number two is strategically, it just gives another, notch in the belt for Russia. And this is, again, just illustrative of just how, dire the situation is becoming for Ukraine.
We know that the U.S. president has been attempting to broker some sort of deal. Not much progress is being made in finding a resolution. What are the demands from both Russia and Ukraine? And do you think the U.S. could mediate a deal?
Well, the big news here is the absence of the United States. Trump, who was really big during the election that he could solve this overnight, has completely and almost disappeared from this. This is really now fallen onto the shoulders of Europeans, and like what we just talked about in France. And that's the big question, because without the United States, there is no impetus and forcing function on Russia to solve this. This, unfortunately, just drags on.
Retired Major General David Fraser, we always appreciate your thoughts. Thank you.
Lindsay, thank you.
If you like that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.